And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, let's see how we can get Julian fully pre-approved for a $500,000 house and how we can achieve that, $3,500 a month payment.
Well, based off right now, for sure, I could say 10%
Okay.
down payment.
Okay, perfect. So that's great information. Say, do the application, Julian. If you have any questions, of course, please reach out to me. Buying a home isn't just about numbers. It's about moving your life forward. Welcome to the Wright Move Podcast, where mortgages meet lifestyle. I am Kyndra Wright, and with over a decade of experience and more than 900 loans funded, I've seen firsthand how the right guidance can change everything. We're here to simplify the process, build confidence, and help you make smart moves for your future, because your next move should always be the right one.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Wright Move Podcast. I'm your co-host, the man behind the desk, Julian Velasquez. And the woman sitting next to me is the one and only, your host, Kyndra Wright. And we are here to bring you home with the right loan.
Today, we're giving you the step-by-step guide to the entire home financing process, from the very first phone call to the moment you get your keys.
All right, Kyndra, today's episode, we're talking about the application process.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh, start to finish, we'll go from there,
Oh, gosh.
So I guess, the initial...
This is the official 12-step process, or
Yeah.
the 12 steps.
12-step process is to bring you home.
It's pretty much almost 12 steps. I'm like, so when you're like, if you've done a 12-step program, you're going to be ahead of the game.
He's like very comfortable with it, I guess you call it.
Yes, it's step by step. I mean, there's so many play on words with how many steps we can take, right, Julian?
Yep. Well, let's talk about step one, the initial phone call.
The initial phone call.
So, when you get that initial phone call from a borrower, how do they sound on the phone usually? Are they a little nervous? Are they comfortable? Walk me through that.
How would you feel, Julian?
Oh, I'd never bought a house, so I probably don't know what I'm doing and be a little bit nervous.
Is that all?
And asking a lot of questions.
You know what? There you go. You just answered that question for me.
Yeah, what kind of type of questions would you be asking on that? Like, borrower versus you, what kind of questions usually go on?
So let's do a little role play, Julian.
Oh, great.
Role play here at the Right Loan. So you're going to be my first time buyer.
All right.
Yay.
Ring, ring. Hi, this is Julian.
You ring first and I answer. Because you're calling me.
Okay, ring, ring.
Hi, this is Kyndra. How can I help you today?
Hi, my name is Julian. I'm looking into getting pre-qualified and pre-approved to purchase my first-time house.
Oh my gosh, Julian, I'm so excited. This is what I love to do. Is I love helping buyers, especially first-time buyers, come home with the right loan. So I can imagine you're probably a little nervous here, Julian.
A little bit. I don't know what I'm doing.
You know what? That's the thing is, even if you've done this before, sometimes you don't always know what you're doing. So that's why we're here to help walk you through the process and make it as easy and seamless as possible. So, Julian, what is you looking to do? Do you have a house in mind that you're looking at? Is this your first time doing the application process? Where are you at?
Well, I was browsing around the neighborhoods, just seeing, what would be something that I could probably afford. Maybe around the $500,000 range. Typically, I think that'd be housings,
What you're seeing and what you like.
Yeah, and I'm, my mortgage payment, which I could probably afford to be maybe $3,500 around that area, give or take. Nothing, trying to go anything higher than that, I'll say.
Okay, so you haven't been pre-approved before, correct?
No.
Okay. Perfect, because you're not jaded to have any misinformation.
Well, I went on Zillow and I put in some money calculations in there and told me all this, so I don't know how true that is.
Well, thank you to Zillow. We value Zillow, but of course, that's nothing like you and I working together. So the nice thing is that you haven't done this before, so we can walk through it, like I said, step by step. So first step is having you do the application. Are you looking to qualify by yourself or with someone else?
If I can qualify by myself, that'd be great. But if I do need to bring someone else in, I can bring my significant other.
Perfect. Well, that's wonderful. So the fact is that we'll have you start an application by yourself. I always start with a soft credit check. Okay. That's at least to see where you're at, because you never know. You might have some things you need to work on your credit. Do you have an idea? Of course, you don't have to disclose this over the phone. Do you have an idea where your credit scores are?
I'm close to about around the 700 area.
Perfect.
Nothing too crazy high in 700s, but I think I'm around there.
Okay. Well, the nice thing is that, we start with a soft pull to see where you're at. If you're in the 700 range, that is amazing because it gives you a lot of financing opportunities. But the nice thing is we do even have loan programs as low as 580. So don't think because your credit is not 800, you can't buy a house.
Yeah, because my significant other, I know she doesn't have the greatest credit, so maybe, that's the one to make sure I can qualify by myself for.
Okay.
We'd probably bring her on.
That's perfect. Let's always see what you can do first. And then if we need to add her on, then we'll explore that option. But so you know where your credit is or have a range. That's great. What is it you do for a living, Julian?
I'm head of business development for a tech company.
Oh, wow. Okay. And how long have you been doing that for?
About 2.5 years.
Wonderful. So the nice thing is you've been employed for over 2 years. We typically need 2 years of employment history. Of course, if you change jobs, we understand if you've been with one company 1 year, moved to another, but we need at least a minimum of a 2-year work history without gaps and all that fun stuff. But it sounds like, your work history is great. Are you salary or hourly?
Salary.
Hourly, Julian.
Salary.
Okay, wonderful. Very simple. If you're a salary employee, that's very easy to verify because your income is set. So if you say are making $125,000 a year, we pretty much know how much money you're making monthly, right?
Yep.
Okay. Credit is good. Job history, income, great. Where's your down payment coming from, Julian?
Down payment will be coming from a little bit of savings that we have.
Okay.
And then hopefully maybe some gift funds from the family.
Wonderful. That's exciting. Well, both sources we can use. So we would request 2 months of your bank statements to see how much money you have in your savings. And then, of course, if your family is so generous to gift you some money for the down payment and closing costs for your first home, then we will talk about the best ways to get that money, by the time we're needed for closing. Okay?
Perfect. And you said to start an application. How easy is that application?
Well, it wouldn't be called the Easy app for nothing.
Oh, easy app. Is that to do it in handwritten or is it online?
Well, the joys of technology is, we utilize technology where we can in this industry, where you have the opportunity to do the application at your leisure. Of course, AI and technology is never going to replace this, right? I mean, as many questions as you can ask, it's always nice to get to know someone, like, again, from an initial phone call and what your actual, what you're looking to do, your goals, and, again, answer any questions or concerns that you may have. So the Easy app is very easy. So the next step is me sending you the link to the application and then you completing the app when you have time, available in your schedule. The nice thing is it can take maybe 5 to 10 minutes at most.
Awesome. That's great to hear, Kyndra.
Yeah. So do you have any questions for me, Julian?
No, but if I do have any questions, I can reach out to you to help me out.
Yes. So a couple quick things before, I let you go, because I know you're very busy. Have you and your significant other, you said you're looking to keep your payment around $3,500, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then how much percentage do you think you're going to have for down payment between what's in your savings and what you could get from family?
No, we're hopefully achieve 20%, but if we can't get 20%, I know we probably get private mortgage insurance. Is that correct?
If you don't do 20% down, both conventional and FHA will have some mortgage insurance, a part of the payment, but it's good to know, for me to know kind of what you're able to get, so I could be like, how am I going to, I start my wheels are spinning to say, okay, these are your financial goals. You're looking for a $500,000 home. You have money in savings and gift funds. You were looking to keep your payment around $3,500. Initially, we're going to start with you. You sound pretty well qualified unless you have a ton of debts. Your credit is good. You have salary income. Now I'm going through, okay, this is what Julian and his significant other are looking to achieve. So now it's like, okay, Julian, the ball is in your court. You have the app. You complete the app once you're available to do so. And once I receive it, then I start taking all that information that you put on the Easy app and what you've given me. And now I'm going to go in and I'm going to say, okay, let's see how we can get Julian fully pre-approved for a $500,000 house and how we can achieve that, $3,500 a month payment.
Well, based off right now, for sure, I could say 10%
Okay.
down payment.
Okay, perfect. So that's great information. I would say do the application, Julian. If you have any questions, of course, please reach out to me, because the nice thing is the Easy app has a lot of great information as you're doing it. But again, if you have any questions, always, reach out. I am just a phone call or text away. I'm here for you. I want to make sure that, all your questions are answered. It's very important to me. And then once the application is done, I'll get notified, and then you're going to upload your pay stubs, your year-end pay stubs. If you have your W-2s, great. If not, don't worry about it. Bank statements. I don't need any of your tax returns because you're not self-employed. You can upload those or you can email them to me securely, whatever you feel most comfortable. Once I review everything, I will be able to say, let's look over what you truly qualify for, your purchase price, down payment, and your monthly payment, and what you're going to be expected to come out of pocket with.
Oh, Kyndra, this is awesome. I feel so much more comfortable now. At first, when I initially called, I didn't know what I was doing, but thank you. This feels a little more at ease.
Yeah, do you feel a little bit more at ease?
Yeah, after that, I do.
Okay. Does it sound as scary as you would think?
No, not really.
No. I mean, but that's the thing. The first call is always the scariest, is because you're actually taking that step to see what you can truly qualify for. And you're like, do I qualify for this? Do I not qualify for this? It's the unknown, right? We're going into the deep abyss of the unknown, but it's really not that. It's more of like the splash pad or something.
Yeah, it is.
It's like,
Well, it was fun role playing, But like I said, this, where kind of clarity starts to begin a little bit. You're figuring it out, kind of get a sense of what the borrower's looking for.
Right.
You're asking questions that we always talk about is very important.
Discovery
questions. It's a new word I taught you.
Yes, Julian taught me a new word. They're normally application questions, but because again, when I started in this industry, I did manual. Like I took either phone calls and I manually entered applications, which we can still do if you're more comfortable with that. We still have that option. So all these questions are on the application. You understand too, like, hey, Julian, do you have kids? Do you what did you go to college? All these, how long have you lived in your home?
You get to know the person too a little bit more as well, which is very important.
What was that?
You get to know the person a little bit more.
Well, you have to know. You have to know who you're working with, what their goals are. What is their. This is it. I'm like an unofficial financial planner because I'm helping guide you to achieve a dream of yours, and it could be nervous. You could be very nervous, and it could be very daunting. But my goal is always to have that initial call be an opportunity to build trust. Because even if you're not ready now, or if you're wanting to see what you can do and we get on a plan together, you want to trust me because you're giving me a lot of very personal, private information, which again, we never share with anyone. Like I always say, it's doctor-patient privilege here.
Yep.
It's a very secure
loan
process.
Officer to patient privilege, we'll call it.
An officer. We're going to figure out a new.
We got a loan officer to borrower privileges.
It is. And we want to keep the process easy to understand, try to take the fear out of it. Plus, always reassure the client that, I want you to feel you can trust me because you're giving me a lot of very personal, private information. So, and once the deal closes, once you get the keys to your new home, the goal is that you're our forever client so that, you're always reaching out to me and it doesn't just end once we close the deal.
Yep. And that's what today's show is all about. So, okay, get the call basically sets the whole tone for, the next steps of the process. And I guess the initial phone call, I can say, I know we didn't get too into it, but let's talk about the needs versus the wants of the borrower. I know someone, wants this nice probably house that they can't afford. Maybe like I said $500,000, but I might not realize I can't afford a $500,000 home. So talk to me about the needs versus the wants on the initial phone call.
So initially you might be needing to move because you're like, guess what? I am getting married and we're not living at my parents' house, or my landlord is selling and I need to move. And I'm looking at, why am I going to rent another year and throw away all this money in rent where I could possibly own a home? So I need to move. There's that need. We're relocating. I need to find a place to live. So do I just rent or do I own? So there's that need. The want is your dream house on the block that you grew up with came on the market and you think you might be able to purchase it and this is your opportunity and you want that home. So what are you needing to do to get the home that you want? So there's always a need or a want. And we're here to help figure out if you can qualify for that need or that want.
So then, okay, after we figure out those little stuffs during the call, now I get the application link. I fill out the application link. Let's talk about the pre-qual versus the pre-approval process.
So there's always a misconception that if you're pre-qual, then you're like fully pre-approved, and that's how much you're going to be able to go out and purchase. A pre-qual is very basic. It's pretty much a soft credit check and you entering how much money you think you make, right? Which again, if you're salary, that's great. Income is very straightforward. But a lot of people aren't salary. They're hourly. and we have to verify your income. So a pre-qual is normally like you do the app and you get an automated from most of the time online lenders, and they say, "Yay, great job, Julian. Yes, you're qualified at 500,000." But they really haven't taken a deep dive of you if you truly can qualify. Plus, they never give you a full breakdown of your monthly payment, your closing costs, none of that. So I always say, if you worked with another lender, have you been fully pre-approved or were you pre-qualified? And then they say, no, I didn't provide any income documents and I'm okay. Then you're not fully pre-approved. So pre-qual is very basic information. It gives you an idea what you're looking to do, but it's not what you would use to go out and shop for a home. Okay. You don't want to go looking at homes just being pre-qualified. You want to be fully underwritten pre-approved. And that's what we do here at the Wright Loan is make sure you're fully underwritten pre-approved. So after the application has been completed, you submit all the income docs we requested. We have your loan submitted to the underwriters to fully make sure we checked everything off the list and know anything that we need to address now before looking at the home. And then that way you know exactly, yes, you are qualified for $500,000 because we looked at everything from credit to income to assets, and we know everything. And we need to get X, Y, and Z before closing. So we make it be all in the upfront. We try to get you fully underwritten. We always get you fully underwritten. So we know that if there's anything that might not have come up based on my initial thorough review, we can get it addressed by the underwriter. We know what we're needing before we close. You know, okay, I am fully pre-approved at $500,000, 10% down. My mortgage payment is this. This is how much money I'm going to need out of pocket, not just the 10% down. And these are the document. This is the documentation that I know I'm going to need before we can get final loan approval. And you're like, oh wow, that's great. So you're like, you know what you're getting.
No, and I think going through underwriting is very important, based off what I've seen working with you behind the scenes, and getting approved by both Fannie and Freddie, which are DU and LP.
Good job.
What do those stand for?
So after I review everything, I submit it to our automated underwriting, and there's DU and LP. DU is backed by Fannie. LP is backed by Freddie. And once we run it through that automated system, there's an algorithm that pulls together everything, and it'll say, oh, we still need X, Y, and Z from the borrower. Then we know if it's approved. If we get an automated approval, they're like, okay, we're good. But then we take it a step further, and we submit that file to the underwriter, because as much as, again, we love technology, we still need a set of eyes to be like, all right, yes, we still need these items that were called out, but we can also need X, A, B, and C.
So they might just pop up.
There might be but that's what a human comes in for. And like, oh, are you aware of this? It's a full review of a file. And as much as we love technology and it is helpful, nothing's going to replace the human aspect of the loan officer having the direct conversation and that relationship to having an underwriter who is going to make sure that they're following all the guidelines and we're getting everything and there's no issues once that loan closes, right?
Yep. And then how long does it typically average to get a pre-approved, going through underwriting, all that?
So Julian, if you got me that application today and all your documentation, you should be fully underwritten, pre-approved by tomorrow.
Wow, 24-hour turnaround time. If everything goes perfectly, perfect scenario.
Ideally, yes.
Yeah.
But that is, the ball is in your court. Once you do the application, submit everything over to us. We submit it over to the underwriter. They'll be able to review everything. And at that point, we're like, yes, we are good to go. And again, then we can go over how much you qualify, your down payment, your monthly payment, and your closing costs.
Well, on an initial phone call, I've heard from you and also our role-playing conversation, you actually give them a heads up. Okay, you're going to need possibly your W-2.
Always.
You might need this many bank stub, your bank statements, stuff like that. Pay stubs, bank statements, all that. And, we also have a sheet that we can give you.
We have a needs list.
Yeah,
we always give
we call that a pre-approval list.
A pre-approval needs list. Yeah. Very basic information. But again, the more questions I can ask you on the upfront to understand who you are, what you do, it will allow me to know, these are the things you're going to need to send me, or don't send me that. I don't need that. And again, we reiterate it in a conversation, text message, email. So you're getting okay, you know exactly what you're needing to provide us.
And then, so now we're in that part. What about locking your interest rate? Does the time frame around then?
So when you are fully pre-approved, say, Julian, congratulations, you've been pre-approved for $500,000. Woohoo! Here is your, estimate of what you based off what you qualify, $500,000, 10% down. Your loan amount would be $450,000. Here is your estimated rate based off of today's interest rates. Okay, the rate does not get locked in the earliest it can get locked in is when your offer has been accepted on a property. If you're buying a new construction, there's different options for locking in your rate before the property is completed. But we always need a property identified before we can lock in your rate.
Oh, that's okay. So then we're going to that process. Even though I might get this rate, can't find the house just yet. 30 days later,
the rate could be different.
Could be different.
So it's very important to understand this is merely an estimate based off today. Because the rate that I quote you today could be totally different tomorrow.
I wonder if people know that. They think they locked in means it's okay, I'm locked in.
Yeah, no, that's why we call it an estimate. And we'll highlight it and point it out as many times as possible. This is an estimate. Nothing is locked in or final.
Perfect. Well, now we're done talking about, initial application, phone call, initial application, now we're fully pre-approved. What's the next step after that?
Now you get to do the fun part. And this is where you get to go shopping with your realtor. And here at the Wright Loan, we value our realtor partners because initially most buyers talk to a realtor first because, I see a home, I'm going to talk to a realtor. And then in turn, they're the ones that will refer us to make sure that buyer is fully pre-approved. They might come in, oh yeah, I did an online application, but the realtor's like, oh no, I really want my preferred lender here at the Wright Loan to double check just to make sure. And then of course you might get a second opinion. And at that point, then we can find out, oh no, they're fully pre-approved. They're good to go. And it takes a team effort. So working with a team between your trusted realtor partner and the lender makes the process run so much smoother because it is a team effort to help bring you home.
No, and I think the advantages of working with the Wright Loan is we definitely do bring you home.
We do bring you home. So it is a team effort working with our realtor partners. So now you get to go do the fun part.
That is the fun part. Now you're actually, all the nervous, being like, figuring out my dickman. Yeah.
This is
now I got to go, it's like shopping, clothes shopping,
Well, for the biggest, biggest piece of clothing you could ever wear, or the closet for your clothes, right?
The closet for your clothes.
The closet for your clothes. So, because again, we do all of our goal is that we do the legwork up front, right? Mm-hmm. So you know what you're getting into. Okay, I know what my monthly payment is. Okay, I'm good with that. I'm not going to be surprised with a monthly payment. We know that the rate isn't locked in yet, but I'm talking to my lender and she's updating me regularly about, okay, these are what rates are doing. This is how much my payment's looking at. Rates went up, okay, that changes my payment. Rates went down, that changes my payment. So you're constant communication, but when you're about to submit that offer, then at that point you're like, okay, I know, my payment is where I want it to be. I know what I have to bring in at the end of the day. I know how much gift funds I'm going to be getting from family. And now the exciting part is like, okay, I found my house. This is the house I want. And you get to submit that offer on the home. And by being fully underwritten, pre-approved, it allows you to have leverage when you submit that offer and have your realtor partner say like, okay, no, they've been fully underwritten, pre-approved. They know how much they're qualified for. We can close quickly. And so we can write contracts as low as 17 days because we did all of the legwork, the heavy lifting.
Yeah, no, that's amazing right there. And, I think it makes the seller and the seller's agent feel more comfortable too.
Well, and that's very important to us as well. As my goal is always to have open lines of communication between both the buyer's agent and the listing agent, because they're the ones that are going to be relaying all of this information to their sellers to know that, hey, yes, the buyer is fully underwritten, pre-approved. The lender even called me personally, which I always try to do, is reach out to the listing agent and say, hi, Mr. Realtor, this is Kyndra Wright with the Wright Loan. I'm calling on behalf of, and we say our client's name, Julian Velasquez. Guess what? He is ready to go. He's motivated. We have him fully underwritten, pre-approved. We can close in 17 days. I always value open lines of communication. And they're like, wow, thank you so much. That's amazing. And I will tell you how many times our offer would get accepted over even cash offers because we went that extra mile to help bring you home and give you that leg up.
It's a very important collaboration process, and I know that we take that seriously because it's a daunting process, as we know. But at the same time, as long as you have someone there, working with you, building that trust, as we always talk about, both on the borrower and the realtor side of things, everything it goes smoothly. And I know people feel so much comfortable when that happens.
Well, I mean, again, we only can control so much, right? Life. Yeah. We can't control everything, but if we can try to eliminate anything to come up at the last minute, or we can make make sure everyone's all working together. Because again, it's teamwork here. We're all working for the same goal in mind. Even on the listing side, that we're bringing that buyer home and we're helping that seller sell because they might need to be moving and going on to the next thing. So you think of all of those things that are so important. It's like this is a relationship, and again, it's all about communication and collaborating and working together to achieve that goal.
No, and now let's talk about the final step as we're wrapping it up. So I found the house I wanted. Yay! Okay, what now? I'm submitted an offer. It gets accepted. What happens now?
So then at that point, the clock is ticking, right? We literally we know that we're closing, say, in 17 days. So we gotta move, and it's a team effort to make that happen. So you and I, me as the lender, you as the buyer, no, okay, I already know what I'm getting myself into. I know these are the documents I need to get, so I'm prepared to, I know this is how much money I'm going to need to have available. At that point, we just hit the ground full speed ahead. On a purchase, it's always how quickly we can go. We have to meet our dates. We have to go over the contingency periods because that protects you. We get initial disclosures out. We talk about formally locking in your interest rate to see if it makes sense for you to lock it in now. So, at this point, this is the exciting part, and just knowing that, okay, today is, say, the 24th, and in 17 days, because that is our goal to close the close of escrow, is to get, by day 17, you're going to be receiving the keys to your new home.
And you mentioned about escrow. So title and escrow, how's that fit in the part of all this process?
So they're a part of the team as well, and they are the neutral third party. That's where you're going to send all your funds. You don't give it to me. You don't give me your 10%, Julian.
Oh, I don't give you the money?
I will take it. Oh. No, I won't. No, I won't take it. But ultimately, title and escrow are the neutral third party that are where you're going to be sending your funds. That's going to be to make sure that there's clean title on the house that you're purchasing. So you're not going to get any liens from the seller moved over to you. We have, that's why it's very important to have title and escrow insurance, right? So they're the neutral third party to make sure that everything is clear on both sides.
Oh, and then so now everything's all good to go. 17 days has passed.
Woo!
So that I get the keys to the house now?
Well, then we almost.
I want the keys.
That's what they always ask. When do I get the keys? When can I give notice? All of that fun stuff, right? So we know 17 days is when we're supposed to close. At that point, initial disclosures have gone out. Your interest rate is locked in and you're good with your payment. You know how much money you're bringing in at the closing table. You send your deposit in. We get the file back into underwriting, now that we're in contract. We order your appraisal. You pay for an appraisal fee up front, okay? Get your appraisal. That typically takes a week, and that's to determine that we know what the value is, right? So it's back in underwriting. You sign your disclosures. Your appraisal's back in 7 days. It's all good. Comes in at value. Woohoo! We're finalizing everything.
And you're part of that whole process.
Everything. From the very beginning till, like I said, even after it closes.
And, then that's something great about working with you. You're there from day one to the last day when those keys are in hand, and you're sending a nice, lovely video to them.
Always a video with our little cannon.
Canyon or little money.
The money cannons.
The money canyons and the money guns.
Woo, the money guns. But so within that 17 days, again, just to recap, we get your initial disclosures out. You lock in your interest rate. You get your appraisal. You get your loan final approval. The final on the stamp, the final sample of approval saying, yes, everything has been satisfied. You are going to be you're going to be a homeowner, Julian.
Awesome.
And then we get out a closing disclosure for your protection, which reiterates and reconfirms all of the loan terms. So there's no surprises at the signing table. We get the closing disclosure out. You are good to go. You review, you sign, boom. 3 days later, we get you to the signing table. You sign everything. Everything is great.
Notarize.
Always notarize.
Yep.
We have to get everything notarized. We want to make sure you're good to go. We have, again, there's no surprises at the final. And then you sign, you wire your money. And then within that same day or within 24 hours, we fund the loan because we put the fund here at the Right Loan, the fund and funding. We put the fund and funding, and then it records with the county. So just because we sent the money, then that's where title and escrow come into play again. That's where you sent your money, and that's where they can let us know, yep, you're recorded with the county. Congratulations, Julian Velasquez.
Woohoo.
You are now a homeowner.
Wow. Well, I guess now their last number we can throw out there real quick. Working with the Right Loan. what's the average time frame to go from start to finish to closing?
So like I said, if you did an application today, we got you pre-approved and you went shopping this weekend, you could be home before the holidays.
Wow.
You could be home before Santa even dropped off presents.
That'd be my Christmas present.
It could, again,
So
you
it's
went
about a
shopping
month
this
then.
weekend, you would be able to close, you could close in 17 days.
Wow. So about a month. So that's, hear
30
that,
days?
everybody? 30 days.
30 days or less.
Alrighty. Well, thank you so much, Kyndra, for walking us through that. So now we're just going to wrap up this episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next week here at the Wright Move Podcast, and we are here to bring you home with the right loan.
Hey, listeners. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Wright Move Podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, following us on social media, and listening on your favorite podcasting platforms. New episodes are dropping every week, so stay tuned, and thank you for your support.